morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today we need to take a look at, well, some good news. I think it's good news. It seems like good news for the One Piece TCG. And obviously it's all to do with stock levels. We know right now that stock levels for the Pokemon TCG are, suboptimal. I think it's probably the nice way to put it. The good news is, Pokemon also know that stock levels for the Pokemon TCG are, well, to put it bluntly, suboptimal right now. And they do seem to be working very explicitly and very transparently to try and actually fix this. You see, an article has gone up on Pokemon.com and it reads like this. Update on Pokemon trading card game product availability. We're aware that some fans are experiencing difficulties purchasing certain Pokemon trading card game products due to very high demand impacting availability. We understand this inconvenience can be disappointing for fans, and we are actively working to print more of the impacted Pokemon TCG products as quickly as possible and at maximum capacity to acknowledge this. Reprinted products are expected to be available at participating retailers as soon as possible. For new Pokemon TCG expansions launching in the future, we are maximizing production to increase product availability upon release, and we will continue to reprint impacted products to replenish stock at participating retailers, including Pokemon Center, that bit's important, as soon as possible. For Pokemon TCG product releases at Pokemon Center, we are committed to providing a smooth purchasing experience and employ technology that helps get products into the hands of fans first and foremost. Currently, Pokemon Center implements a virtual queue for certain products to help provide a more seamless purchasing process during periods of increased site traffic. We will continue to explore measures that help to create the best possible experience for Pokemon Center customers. We'd like to thank the community for their continued support and patience as we work to deliver more Pokemon TCG products to fans. And I like the wording here, and it's wording we've kind of seen from Pokemon before. As quickly as possible and at maximum capacity. We are maximizing production to increase product availability upon release. We will continue to reprint impacted products to replenish stock. It doesn't sound like they're just going, yeah, we'll have a go. It sounds like what they are basically doing is saying, we are literally doing everything we can to print as much. And this is something which I think a lot of people are misunderstanding right now. Pokemon are printing. And Pokemon are printing a lot. So what's the issue? Demand. The issue is demand. The demand for Pokemon TCG products right now is absolutely absurd. Remember the fact I've given you before. 18% of all Pokemon cards ever sold were printed last year. The game's been around for over 25 years, and 18% of all cards ever sold happened last year. That's not a company that's just sitting there going, we're not bothering to print. That is a company which is struggling to keep up with phenomenal demand. And you got to bear in mind that when this stuff happens and when demand increases like has happened, that does unfortunately mean it takes time to catch up. Not that that really helps all the people that are desperately trying to get cards right now. Like, to put it into perspective, I recently uploaded an opening of a Journey Together Pokemon Center Elite Trainer box. That went up for pre-order on the Pokemon Center. I put my pre-order in because I saw when it went up. Went on the website, got my pre-order in, jobs are good, and it was not that difficult. Destined Rivals, I was on a train, but it sounds like even if I wasn't on a train, I wouldn't have got my pre-order in. And I kind of know that because I messaged my wife, who is a wonderful, wonderful person, who did try and get a pre-order in. And she got to the website, and halfway through trying to put the order in, the website refreshed and she got chucked back into the queue. And I'm hearing a lot of people who basically, the queue didn't work brilliantly for them, I think is a nice way to put it. Soon as your browser refreshed, you lost the queue. And then a lot of people ended up seeing the Destined Rivals Elite Trainer box being sold out. We know there are issues right now. I know there are issues right now. You know there are issues right now. Pokemon, by virtue of their statement, very clearly know that there are issues right now. But I do think we need to give some credit to Pokemon for coming out and being like, yes, there are issues, we're working on it. We are making an effort here. Because remember, it's not just in the West this is happening. I have been buying boxes of every Pokemon TCG set in Japan since halfway through Sword and Shield. Now, admittedly, for Eevee Heroes, I did have to get a little bit lucky. But other than, well, I say lucky, but the lovely Anton Boulay hooked me up, otherwise I probably would have been screwed. But outside of that, since a little bit before then, I've been buying boxes of every set, and it's honestly not been that hard. I've given you the example before, like when Terastal Festival, what was Prismatic Evolutions for us, came out. You could go on the website until like a week before release, order 5 boxes, jobs are good. When Battle Partners went up for release, I could only buy 1 box, but I still ordered 1 box. I still don't have my box of Hot Air Arena. Now, the reality is, it hasn't actually gone up for sale, Hot Air Arena, weirdly, on the Pokemon Center yet. They were going to put it up for pre-order, but they delayed it. So I'm going to get that in at some point, and I'll probably just go and buy a box off Macari because they're like double retail. I don't like paying it, but I want my Japanese sets. Honestly, the singles are not going up at the same rate as the boxes, so for what it costs to buy a box over on, say, Amazon Japan, I can literally buy one of every common, uncommon, rare, EX, and artwork rare, everything but the proper secret rares. I could buy all of that for less than a box as it costs over on Amazon. So I might just end up doing that in future. I still get my collection and my binder full of cards. I just don't get the chance of the ridiculous cards. And that's basically where we are right now. Everybody wants the chance of the ridiculous cards. Everybody wants to open Journey together for the chance to hit the Iono's Bellabolt or the Lily's Clefairy. That's what people are after. People want to open up packs and just spike the big cards. They want to open up Prismatic Evolutions and hit the Umbreon. And obviously we know that most of the time that doesn't happen. The vast majority of the time that doesn't happen. But the reality is that keeps a lot of people involved. There are other factors around at the moment, of course. Pokemon Pocket is huge. It's doing fantastically. It's immensely popular. And that, of course, has brought more people into Pokemon as a whole, but specifically interested in the TCG. And that has caused quite a big bump. We had a very similar thing. Well, no, we had the exact same thing happening when Pokemon Go launched. Interest in Pokemon as a whole spiked, and that led to a big spike in interest in the Pokemon TCG. I don't know how many of you were around in like 2016-17, but we're in the same position then that we're in now. Pokemon Go caused a massive spike in interest in the Pokemon TCG, and I don't mean the Pokemon Go set, although that was awesome, because that came later. I mean Pokemon Go, just the game as a whole, caused a massive spike in interest, and it took time to recover. But I want to remind you guys what I've reminded you of in the past, because I was here when Champions Path dropped. I was here a long time before Champions Path dropped, but I was here when Champions Path dropped. And I was here when Shining Fates dropped, and what those two sets have in common is, on release, they were a nightmare to get hold of. They were impossible to get hold of. I had to really use some of my contacts to get those sets. I had to use all of my tricks. The shops out of the way in small areas that people don't generally go to. I had to use all my wiles to find stock of those sets. And Shining Fates has only recently become a pain to find. I made multiple videos on this channel basically going, hey dudes, Shining Fates, seriously, still available, still out there. Go grab Shining Fates. And it now actually is becoming a bit of a pain to get hold of, admittedly. Although it's still out there for not ridiculous prices. But that took years to get to that stage. What I'm saying to you is, we've seen this happen before and it did get better before. Pokemon are coming out and saying that they are reprinting, they are restocking, and look back at the phrasing. As quickly as possible and at maximum capacity. They're not mincing their words. They're not hedging here. They are saying super clearly, this is going to happen. We are doing this. That's good news. Is it going to get you your pre-order of the Destined Rivals Elite Trainer box? Not today, although we did hear the other day they are actually definitely going to reprint them, and it talked about the Pokemon Center products in the announcement I read you a minute ago, so this stuff is all coming back. I currently don't have a pre-order in for the Destined Rivals Elite Trainer box, and I want one. I very much want one. But I do think it is going to be okay in the end. We have seen this before. If you've been around for a while, and I've heard people recently talking about like, oh, it's been like this for 4 years. No, it hasn't. It hasn't been like this for 4 years. Because if you were here on the release of, sets like Paldean Fates and Obsidian Flames, they weren't sold out everywhere on release. Paradox Rift is still readily available at reasonable prices, like at or below retail. There's so many of the early Scarlet and Violet sets that just did not sell out. And there's a little bit of revisionist history going on from some people here, but this hasn't been a continuous thing. This has been peaks and troughs. Go back to 2016, it got silly, and then it got better. Go back 3 or 4 years and it got silly, and then it got better. Right now, we are very much in an it got silly part of the timeline. No arguments there. Things are hard to get hold of right now, and it's frankly less than ideal. But it hasn't been like this continuously. And I'm seeing a lot of discussion on social media lately about people going, it's been like this for years, why haven't Pokemon fixed it? And the answer is it hasn't. It hasn't been like this for years. It has been peaking and troughing for many years. But it's not been continuous for several years, and I just named you a bunch of sets that have been readily available at or below retail pretty much since release. And if you don't believe me, go buy Paradox Rift Run. I'm looking at Elite Trainer boxes at retail, booster boxes below retail, available in the UK today, right now. The problem we had was, we had things like Pocket, and then if you look at the last few sets, Prismatic Evolutions, ridiculous, phenomenal set. Journey Together, ridiculous, phenomenal set. Destined Rivals, ridiculous, phenomenal set. And really it began with Surging Sparks. This new, big jump really was Surging Sparks was a progenitor here, with the Pikachu and all of that. It has gotten silly. I do think it will get better. And if nothing else, Pokemon have come out and explicitly said, we are working on it. So there we go. That's what you need to know. I know right now it sucks. I know right now it's just not possible to get all the products we want, and it's rubbish, and a lot of people, myself included, are being disappointed on a pretty regular basis. But it does seem like things are getting better, and we should at least be a bit happy about that. As always, as we get more updates, as stock increases, I will show you. But for now, it's over to you guys. How's your luck been lately? What are you after? What's your collection looking like? Let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. And get shoutouts on the channel like the lovely Ashley Munns, who's been a supporter of ours for a while now and is a very lovely person. So shout out to them for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing is always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.